So you have a chapter in your book on animals.
Yeah, the animal welfare movement was actually begun by evangelical Christians, including Hannah More. Wilberforce, again, was the leader of that part of the movement. He actually helped to establish the first Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty in England. And Hannah More was his friend. She was not a leader in the animal welfare movement, but she partnered with those who did lead it. It wasn't an issue that she really addressed separately, because she saw it as an issue that just was part and parcel of everything that she and her fellow reformers were doing. And so her role in the animal welfare movement was really, again, more in incorporating these ideas into her writing. Some of the things that she is most famous for writing are what are called cheap tracts. They were tracts written for the poor and sold very cheaply so that they could afford them. And they were written in such a way that they would appeal to the poor. So they were written at their level of reading. They were written with stories and songs and things that would entertain them. And Moore's tracts, rather than just being, base, silly entertainment, actually included moral lessons in the stories. And so one of her tracts I wanted to read from, because it is a good example of how she incorporated animal welfare issues into a larger holistic moral worldview that included right behavior and compassion and concern across one's life. So this is from a story she wrote called Tom White, the Postboy. And Tom starts out as a young postboy driving a post cart with a horse. He gets led astray in his moral behavior by the other postboys who are drinking and carousing and so forth, and has an accident, and through that serious accident comes to have a religious conversion. And so when he gets well, he mends his life. And the story tells many ways that he improved his behavior and set an example. And one of those ways is this, I'll read. Tom indeed was very careful in never giving his horses too much water when they were hot, nor, whatever his haste, would he ever gallop them uphill, strike them across the head, or when tired, cut and slash them, or gallop over the stones as soon as he got into a town, as some foolish fellows do. What helped to cure Tom of these bad practices was that remark he met with in the Bible, that a good man is merciful to his beast. After this, Tom never could bear to see a wanton stroke inflicted. Doth God care for horses, said he, and shall man be cruel to them? So that passage is just part of a much longer section of the story, talking about how Tom's behavior changed through his faith in many different ways. And then he goes on to become wealthy, and his master later credits him with saving the lives of many horses simply because he took good care of them, which of course was not necessarily a commonly held practice in those days. Animals were often just seen as maybe the way we would see automobiles today, just possessions, just tools. And it was very common for horses to be beaten mercilessly in the streets as they were taking loads in their carts and carriages. And so Moore is, in her work, trying to bring about changes in moral behavior across the whole spectrum, and that includes kindness to animals, which she bases in Scripture.